He had one man done all the calligraphy. So the writing is the same throughout, so it's the same style, so it's got to be one man, hasn't it? The same man throughout. And two men drew the illustrations. So that's how its conception, what it was all about, was just for his ego. He wanted to draw a map of God's world. It was not for any teaching or anything else, and he was the only man involved in putting it together. His helpers have done whatever he said.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's roughly in 3 sections. If you go through the centre line, which is Jerusalem, and it points to the east, that's something else you've sort of got to get your head round. As I say, it's 180 degrees out, so you've got to think along his lines. I know but don't worry, you haven't got to remember everything I'm telling you, because when you see the real one, because that'll be confuse you altogether. We've got one of these by it, so you can refer, sort of. So I'm only keeping it light and easy for you, because I could talk about this till Christmas. You'll have been back home by the time I've finished talking. Anyway, right, we'll go through the centre line. The top half is Asia. That is China,
East,
and India. That is Europe, and that is Africa. That's the Mediterranean down there. So you've got the Black Sea, the Aegean Sea, and the Mediterranean there. And then say it's surrounded by ocean. That's the geography. But as I say, it's only there to assist you so you know which part of the world you're looking at. So you've got Germany there, Greece, Italy, Spain, France, the UK there. That is Ireland. You're actually standing there. That's Hereford there. So you know where you're standing there. You're not in water, you're your feet are dry. So you know roughly the geography. So now I'll touch on the religious aspect and introduce a bit of geography as we go along. You've got, as I say, that's the Mediterranean. So you've got the Balearics there. Have you heard of them? Mallorca, those places. That's what they are. Have you been to any of those places?
No.
No? I
haven't.
They're just islands really, and they've been built up as holiday resorts really. That's all they are. They're a bit boring, you know what I mean? You get too many people there, you can't get about them. But that's what they are, basically. You've got Sicily, Crete. Have you heard of the labyrinth?
Oh, that's the labyrinth, yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
No, you haven't. Well, have you heard of the labyrinth?
I've heard of it, I've read of it.
The Minotaur that lives there. You know the story?
It was the sun. It was the sun, or
no, you're on the wrong track there.
Oh,
no,
wrong.
It was half man, half beast.
Right.
The Minotaur.
Right.
And he was an embarrassment. He kept escaping. You see, they got him incarcerated in that just to keep him in check. And he was very, very naughty. He kept caking out, and he would cause havoc. And the gods said, "We've had enough of this gentleman." Putting it politely, I could put a few short swear words, but I won't. Okay. We don't want to cause an international incident, do we? Anyway, as I say, he was very much an embarrassment, and he kept escaping. And they said, "Well, we've got to do something about it. We can't let it go on." So they called on Theseus. Okay, that ring a bell?
No,
they called on Theseus to do away with him. However he done it, whatever he done, get rid of him. So they approached Theseus and said, "Okay, we want you to get rid of him, whatever you do." And they gave him a ball of golden thread. If you read the story of it, it highlights that as very important, because it's basically a maze. Have you ever been in a maze? Mm-hmm. So you know what I'm talking about. So that's what that was. But so he had to tie this ball of golden thread on the outside, let it out till he found the Minotaur, then he killed him. Got rid of him, whatever he done. Then rolled the ball back up to find his way out. Oh. That was the idea. So that's that story, but it's a myth. It's a Greek, another Greek. Have you read any Greek mythology stories? A wonderful story. But it's all in there.
It's been many years.
And some of them are quite bizarre, aren't they?
Yes, they are. But
they're very interesting stories.
Oh yeah, they're good for young people. I've read it when I was a young kid.
Well, you do it. I mean, They made loads of films of these things because
Oh, yeah.
they're so in your face, aren't they? There's
Yeah.
lots of things going on. Oh, there's another story I'll come into in a minute. You've got the Golden Fleece. Do you know the story? of
Jason and the
Golden Fleece?
Argonauts.
You know the story of it?
Oh, I don't remember it.
Jason and the Argonauts? Yes, well, that's the mythological story where he wanted to prove himself to the gods. So he approached them and said, give me a challenge, something to do. So what he did was, they said, locate the Golden Fleece and bring it back. Easy, easy peasy. So he built his boat, got his crew together, and they sailed off. And of course, if you remember the film, he went through a series of escapades,
Trials.
Monsters and all that sort of thing he came across on his travels. But he located the fleece and brought it back. So his job was done, so he was a good lad. Yeah. Everyone liked him because he'd done the job right. But the fleece itself, that is obviously a mythological story, didn't happen. But the fleece itself did exist. And they used it to pan for gold.
Yeah.
Yeah? Obviously, you're familiar with that term, aren't you? Panning for gold. Because I had to explain it to all the people, wouldn't you? Us Americans, we know what we're talking about now. So they used it, but instead of using a pan, they would drop the fleece into the water course. Whatever length of time, they would leave it and go away and then come back, lift it out, and it'd have little bits of dust and that in it. They would burn the fleece afterwards to get the gold out, and then they'd replace it with another fleece. So that is a true story. And there's a mock-up there now. A man, entrepreneur, decided to put a bit of a mock-up there because there was nothing there before. People were going to visit that area, I think, because you're in Russia there, and they would expect to see something. But there was nothing there. So someone tried and says, oh, right, that sounds interesting. If I put something there, the Golden Fleece, and a mock-up of Jason and his boat and that, it'll cause a tourist trap, won't it? It'll make plenty of Mazuma.
Sure.
So that's what that, but the fleece itself is a true story. Right. Now we come on to the religious bit now. When I see your eyes white, no, but I'll say you've had enough, so I won't go any further. Anyway, right, we'll start with Noah's Ark.
There you go.
Right? You know the story of Noah's Ark. Tower of Babel in Babylon, are you familiar with that story?
Yeah.
Are you very religious, or you just happen to know these things? No, you don't go regularly to church, I think?
No.
When I say these things, people know, I think, oh, they must be not particularly highly religious, but go to church, you know. Yes, the tower, yes.
Oh, I have gone to church.
Yeah, I'm not saying I haven't. All I'm just saying is, when people nod like that, oh, are they? Because I have to play by ear and see how they feel, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, because you remember the story as it goes is purely fictitious again, where you could climb the tower and you'd have the stairway to heaven. But you'd have to. It's not easy. You'd have to prove yourself and everything, and you can walk up to it. Wonderful, but that's neither here nor there. It's famous now for its hanging guardians. You recall? Yes, it's one of the 7 wonders of the world, isn't it? The hanging gardens of Babylon. But that's another story. Then you've got the Red Sea. Now that's important for a religious context, because do you remember when Moses rescued the children of Israel from there? They followed this path and he parted the waves, didn't he, in the Red Sea? So they went through there and then went down there. That's where they wandered around in the wilderness for the 40 plus years, and where Moses was approached by God and they made the 10 Commandments. Yeah? So then they came out of there to the promised land of Jericho. It's a very important story in the Bible about that, because you know that's it's still going on today with the Jews and what. We won't go into politics. It's sport. Anyway, so that's that story. Then you've got the River Jordan there, going up to the Dead Sea, and Sodom and Gomorrah. Are you familiar with the story of Sodom and Gomorrah? Have you been there then?
No.
No, haven't you? Oh, I thought you might have been, you know. So you know the story, there were a naughty lot of people.
Yeah.
Very, very naughty.
Yeah.
And of course, the only 2 people that he would, because God went there a few times to say, come on, behave and be good. And of course they ignored him altogether and carried on doing what they were doing. And he said, okay, enough's enough. So he says, there's only 2 people I think are good enough to leave. That was Lot and his wife. Yeah? But on one condition, they don't look back. And of course, Lot's wife looked back, didn't she? And of course, there she is, 10 to a pillar of salt. So that's that story. As we go up, you've got, that is paradise, or the Garden of Eden. There's 2 people there. That is Adam and Eve. There's... Are you recording it, are you?
I'm trying to. I hope it is.
So he was recording. There's an angel standing behind him with a sword saying, "You've been naughty, go off into the world and make life. I don't want to know you anymore." So that's what that bit's all about. Now, if you look around this circle, you'll see 12 images. All right, like 1 to 12, like a clock or watch, whatever. And they are called the 12 winds. Now, the 12 winds are the controllers of the world. What I mean by control, they control the winds, weather systems, crop growth, diseases. They were in control of civilization, basically, so those very powerful controllers. Then at the very top, you've got the Day of Judgment. Now, that's God sitting on his throne, purveying all his peoples. On his left, you could see them being stripped and chained by demons and sent into the jaws of hell. On his right, they're being welcomed out the coffins with a fanfare of trumpets and welcomed into and escorted into heaven by kings, queens and bishops and what have you. So that's, when you come, if you got to your day, keep to the left and you'll be on the
That's right.
So,
To his right.
He's right, yes,
his
you're
right,
left,
yeah.
you're left, because we're going up that way. You see. I can keep going on, but that's just giving you a rough idea. I mean, you've got another bit of geography for you. That is the Nile Delta going up to Cairo. That's the other Nile coming down here. That's Lake Victoria there. As I say, I can keep going on and on, but I don't want to beat your brains out because you're trying to think of everything. But that is a broad, simple view of the map itself. There is a lot more to it, but you need to study it for quite a considerable amount of time. I'm talking about months, not a couple of hours or 10 minutes. You know, you can't do it because it's so involved.
Oh, yeah.
Are you Harry Potter fans? No, you're not.
Are we what?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter fans?
Oh.
No.
Well, I've watched a few of the movies, of course.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, they're entertaining, but...
So you know the Mandrake Pen?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah? And the Basilisk?
Yes.
So you recall them on Harry Potter. Well, that's where she got the ideas, because most authors have to get inspiration from somewhere, don't
Sure,
they?
right,
So
sure.
that's where she got those, creatures from. But they're the mythological creatures anyway, they're not real. Now, is there anything you'd like to ask me a question about?
Well, the terminology, was this called Germany?
That's Germany.
Yeah, did he call it labeled Germany, or where's it labeled?
It isn't actually labelled as such, but you've got
There's
Prague. That's right.
And
then
the
you've got
Carpathians?
Hungary. Yes. Then you got there's all you got the Danube, the Thames, the West. You got the river. There's all the different rivers there.
There's France.
You're in France there, yes.
Yeah, Cologne, the Rhine. But he didn't actually label this anywhere Germany, did he? Salzburg?
Not in that sense, no, because it's a combination of different places, isn't it?
Right.
Because you've got to,
There's
as I say,
Paris.
you have to. That's Notre Dame in Paris, and then you got the Vatican City in Rome.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at it. You've got to get down to his point of view and look at it through his eyes. You see, so it's not quite as I say, as simple as just looking at it. You have to.
Well, that's
study
what
it.
Germany didn't actually develop into a country until much later, until the 19th century.
That's right, and Russia too.
Yeah, so
That's why you've only got a little bit of Russia there. That's the Scythians. If you look that up, the Scythians were the early Russians. And they were fighting all the time.
I haven't read much of the Russian history, but So, this is Gaul, France.
Yes.
And did that pretty much cover Germany as well?
No, that's Germany and that's France. Separate entity.
Okay.
As I say, in God's world, you see, there's no demarcation. There's no such thing. As far as he's concerned, that's his world. I want to explain that to you, so at least you understand where roughly you are.
Right. Sure.
But it's not that easy to understand. I can assure you. There's people that's studied this for quite some time.
Yeah. I'm going to buy a book before I leave,
But it takes
so I can read it. Yeah.
It takes a bit of understanding. I could go and talk about. There's lots of things I haven't told you about because I don't want to
Right.
rail your brains. Because you want, what time you walk down there, you'll have forgotten. You can't retain it all yourself. But it's very complicated.
Yeah, I want to read it. I'm interested.
But
I want you to recommend a good book to me before I leave.
It's a thin book. It's only a paperback. But it's very instructive, very interesting. It's a £10, and he sells them by the tin.
Okay.
It's the one. Sarah Harrismith is the author.
Okay.
It's there. It's Sarah Harrismith, and it's Map of Bondage. She goes into a little bit more detail that you can sort of read over and over again and digest it easy. I'm trying to keep it simple, just to get whet your appetite really, so as you buy the book. I don't need permission, I work for nothing.
No.
I'm a volunteer, so I don't get it. So that's roughly what the map's all about.
One.
Yeah, that's
But you've got to get into his mindset, because a lot of it is by word of mouth, because he never left England. That makes it a little bit more complicated, the fact that he never left England. So all the information is by word of mouth. That's people that have done the spice routes, trade routes and silk routes, you see. And of course, have you ever heard the Chinese whisper?
the Chinese what?
The Chinese whisper. Have you ever heard that terminology?
No.
You Americans, you know, you're that far behind, you know. You ain't caught up yet. No, the Chinese whisper, it's an expression we all use, especially us British do, quite regularly. It came around in World War I, in the trenches, as you know about the trenches and the people fighting that. If you wanted to send a message to your headquarters,